Where do I start? A worrying trend I am starting to see on social media and image boards is when a person is interested in getting into a new series and asks where the best place is to start. A swarm of people come in to give advice which boils down to them recommending games be skipped or playing the wrong versions of those games or in the wrong order. How about we go ahead and take a look at some of these opinions without the person around to defend themselves and possibly out of context. Sounds fair? Great, let's do it. The fuck I won't. I'm not playing a game on every system on the universe just to have a basic grasp on what's going on. There better at least be a what happened between 2 and 3. Daniel Boone there, confusing playing a video game as a Herculean task. Any franchise that makes unnumbered entries important is a testament of really bad writing. Fair point there from Zappards, which is the reason why we don't number children. You're right, the devs did do an amazing job at making everyone spend as much money as possible. Niam here, confusing convenience with greed. Is it just laziness that people are reluctant to start from the beginning of a franchise? I don't see the point, as video games are a leisure activity, so why are you trying to cheat yourself from enjoyment? Are people so used to disposable media that they see no value in a product unless it's the latest thing? This is getting into some pretty heavy stuff, and I don't want to start preaching about materialism or anything. I just want to talk about video games. I hear people parrot the thought, oh, that game's on the PS2, so it doesn't control that well, so you can skip it. Like, what? I'll have you know PS2 games control just as well as games these days, and in some cases even better than games released these days. Sorry, I'm really confused. When did games start controlling good? Was it last gen that we nailed how controls worked? Oh Jesus, don't tell me we only just got the hang of it. Oh man, Detroit controls so well, you guys. I actually feel like I'm walking around these levels and sometimes pushing a button. Not like all those old games that didn't control well at all. Hell, games from the N64 PSX era control better than their current gen counterparts. One theory I have is this issue mainly is confined to Japanese series, as I never see anyone asking where to start with the Assassin's Creed series and then having people advised to start from the beginning. Maybe Japanese games are more comfortable and proud of having a long-running series. Now, I know it really isn't a big deal that a few misinformed people are sharing their opinions. That's basically what the internet is for. But when we have professional game reviewers who have an audience of millions claiming that it's a problem if a game doesn't attempt to catch new players up to the story, first of all, as a professional video game reviewer, it is your job to be informed enough on the subject material. And second of all, I wouldn't expect a book in a long-running series to stop dead in its tracks to feed any new readers the basic plot. My main example for this was Yakuza and Kingdom Hearts. I'll get to Yakuza in a minute, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is a greatly anticipated title for a large number of fans. Fans who have been following this series for years and followed the story across multiple systems because they are invested. I hate using this word, but it's incredibly entitled to expect a game in this long-running franchise to cater to your ignorance and unwillingness to enjoy this series. You're a bunch of parasites! Holy shit, that was harsh. But imagine if the majority of Kingdom Hearts 3's completion time is spent recapping the events of the story that true fans already know. I feel pretty cheated and let down if the game was prioritizing non-fans of the game instead of those that have supported it up to this point. I have no problem with people deciding where they enter a series, and they don't have to do it from the start. I didn't start Persona at 1, I didn't start RE at 1, and I didn't start DMC at 1, etc, etc. But I don't have the ignorance to assume that I am an ambassador of these franchises, and I'm not going out of my way to tell people who are interested in those franchises to play games in the wrong order, or worse, skip games. Now onto Yakuza. I was introduced to the series via Hyperbit Heroes retrospectives of the franchise, and at the start of 2016 I bought the Japanese HD collection and started playing through the series. This adventure took me about a year and a half to finish all release Yakuza games, and got me ready for Yakuza 0, which would be released in a couple months. So this is why I can comment on people not making effort when trying to get into a franchise. If I might toot my own horn, I played through 6 fairly long games spanning multiple consoles, and some of them were only in Japanese. If I can do it, then so can you. When preview videos were being made for Yakuza 0, the quote I kept hearing was this was the perfect place to start, which is an awful idea as the game was expecting you to know the character's features so that your expectations would be subverted when they did things you weren't expecting. Going into this without that prior knowledge is missing a key part of the story and the characters. But hey, it's hard to convince people that a game called Zero is not the perfect place to start, and then a remake of the first game is even harder. But in what reality can you go from 0 to 1 and then 6? I saw baffling interviews with people saying it's fine to continue or even start with 6 because there is a recap video and a small section where you walk on a ghost beach and see character bios.
What was so appealing about Yakuza 0 was that it was like, hey, it's a prequel. You don't need to know anything, jump on in. Yakuza 6, we're back to being intimidating again. For me, am I incorrect?
You're incorrect.
The game literally starts where 5 left off. Maybe these recap sections are fine for people who already played the previous games and need a refresher, but new people being able to understand, let alone appreciate 4 games worth of story and characters is absurd. Alright, so I may have been a bit out of line calling people parasites. At least these people are buying the games and are interested in them. Yakuza was in a hole with which it looked like it would never come out of. At least now people are actually buying and playing the games, even if they're in the wrong order. I mean, we are getting 3 Yakuza games this year, as well as a PC port. I don't think that would have happened if people only bought the game if they started at 1 and worked their way through the series. There, that's my glass half full paragraph for this video. I could rag on and on about these awful opinions or these awful people who promote them, but whenever I think about debunking these terrible opinions, I'm just left with one question: where do I start?